ciel bleu vole en silence les cœurs des gens amoureux. Hey everyone, so for today's video, I'm going to dive into the Ulta Beauty brand. This is their house brand. This is the makeup that I think a lot of us walk right by when we're going to the register. But here's the thing, I actually found a couple of what I would consider like hidden gems at an affordable price from Ulta Beauty. In particular, their two cream shadows, and I talk about them over and over and over on my channel. And that's where this video stemmed from. I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper into this brand to find out if there were some other little hidden gems. I've definitely found some new favorites, and I've found some products that I would personally skip on, products that are just a little bit confusing. So let's first start off with an old fave, of course, the Ulta Beauty Bouncy Cream eyeshadows. You can see that I have a lot because I think that this formula is really, really beautiful. It is very thin yet creamy formula, and it does have, you know, that little bit of squish and that little bit of bounce to it. This formula has a sheer base and then a bunch of sparkles suspended throughout the formula. It's very, very fine glitter, and overall it just ends up giving a really kind of fresh, elevated, sparkly look. It's very appropriate for work, for every day, and there's just a general kind of effortlessness about these shadows, in my opinion. They catch the light really, really beautifully. They never look dry or textured on the lids, which if you have drier skin, sometimes, you know, that can be an issue. Sometimes glitters can exaggerate dryness, but I find that these just give you that kind of model off duty, effortless kind of eye look. But they don't just look effortless, like they're actually easy to apply, which, you know, if a product is going to look effortless but it takes a really long time to get right, I'm just gonna skip right past it. These are really easy. You can just take a finger, swipe them on the lids. These do break pretty easily, but it doesn't affect the formula, so I don't mind that. The shades I think are really beautiful as well because you get a little bit of a different finish with all of them. So for example, with Italian Ice, I feel like this one is just a very sheer kind of taupey wash of color with just a really glossy looking glitter. And then you have some other shades like Maple Pecan, which this to me feels a little bit more like a reflective kind of satin shadow, very easy to wear every single day. They are very, very beautiful. I will say though that these do crease, but my second hidden gem and my second recommendation, these are I think some of the best products from Ulta, are the matte cream eyeshadows from Ulta. And this is basically how I get most of my cream shadows to last all day. This is my quick fix. These are kind of like my secret weapon for my eye looks, and I always go back and recommend these. I really do think this is the best matte liquid shadow formula that I have found. I think with a lot of matte liquid shadows, they can look a little bit drying on the eyes. Like they adhere to the skin and look very paint-like. Like it looks very crackly, and these just don't do that. They look ultra smooth and creamy, but they're still completely matte. So what I like to do is kind of frame my eyes with this. I'll put this into the crease. On the lower lash line, I actually have the shade Game Over, which is kind of like my go-to very neutral shade, and I have that into my crease and a little bit on my lower lash line, and this helps any shadow last a lot longer. It's not going to build up in the crease. They're also really beautiful on their own because the pigmentation is definitely there and it looks very creamy and defining on the eyes. I think the formula is so unique. I feel like this is just such an incredible staple product. The only thing that I would change is that I wish that there were more shades. I want more variety. But let's talk about what's on my eyes today. I actually saw this at Ulta and was very intrigued because I hadn't seen this before. It is the Ulta Beauty Lustrous Foil Eyeshadow. I have mine in the shade Rose Gold Leaf, and that's what's all over my lids today. If you are a sparkle lover, if you love that high shine, ultra glittery look on your lids, this is such a good find. It just gives you a ton of sparkle. It has a very loose pressed formula, which usually translates to a little bit more of a thicker texture. And this definitely is more of a thick textured glitter. So for me, this works both as a high shine color glitter, but it also works as like a texture product. You can get like more of like a, I don't know, like a rocker kind of glittery gritty eye look. But the way that I applied it today is I kind of warmed it up on the back of my hand and then I put it all over the lids, and I find that you can kind of wash it out and you can get a little bit more of that scattered glittery look. I would say if you really want to build this up, I would personally use a glitter glue with this. I don't see the need to use one when I just wear it very sheerly like I did today. So again, if you love playing with textures, if you really love glittery looks, I definitely would recommend this one. I figured I might as well just talk about all of the cream shadows that I've tried. I have also tried out the Ulta Beauty Cream Eyeshadow and Liner. In specific, I have the shade Taupe of the World. So I really was on the fence about this product, but I've finally kind of gotten to know it. And this shade in particular, I feel like this is really subtle. So if you want a very subtle cream shadow, it'll give you just a little bit of definition to your lids. And it's not a really creamy formula. It goes on pretty creamily, but then it sets down, which I think is pretty ideal if you don't want to have to worry about your shadow all day. It doesn't have a ton of pigment though, so if you're looking for pretty rich pigment, I think at least this shade in particular would not be one that I recommend. Like a black and some more deep tones that I think would probably give you more pigment. But for this product in specific, the way that I like to use it isn't necessarily as like a one and done shadow. I like to use it as a base for other products. I think if you wanted to use this as a one and done shadow, it would be very subtle and pretty. But for me, when I wear this and apply like a glitter on top, we'll talk about this glitter in a second, they work really well together because product likes to stick to this. So if you're looking for a more cream kind of stick version of a base product for your eye looks, this is one that I would personally look into. I do think that I like these more, just, you know, based on my personal preferences. I like that they're matte. I like that there's more pigment to them. So I do think it's good to use for a base product, but I don't think it's like in my top picks from Ulta. I also have two more liquid shadows, and they're also in the same format as the matte cream shadows. So let's first talk about the metallic cream shadow from Ulta. I have mine in the shade Materialistic, and this is just a very beautiful kind of cool toned smoky shade. For me, this kind of reminds me of the matte cream shadow, except just taken up a notch with that shine and sparkle. So I don't consider this to be a true metallic. I would say it's somewhere between a satin and a metallic. It definitely has a pewtery shift and sheen to it that I think is really pretty. I really do tend to gravitate towards shades like these. I'm sure a lot of you already know that. This one will certainly last a little bit longer on the lids, and I do like the texture. Again, it's that kind of creamy, easy to blend texture with quite a lot of pigment, so you don't need much of this. But it's definitely a soft shine. For me, I do prefer a little bit more of like a glossy effect to my shine products. That's why I have been such a fan of the Bouncy cream shadows, because shades like Champagne Sorbet and Italian Ice just give you a beautiful glossy look. And again, the one that I have on my lids, this Lustrous foil shadow, if you sheer it out very finely, it does catch the light really prettily. Because this sets down on the lids like the matte cream shadows do, this isn't going to give you as much reflection. I would rather go in with like the Bouncy cream shadow and then put this in the crease to make it last a little bit longer. But that's how I like to do it. I know some people might not want to go in with two products. And the last eyeshadow product is the Ulta Beauty Glitter Cream Eyeshadow. So I was a little bit hesitant about this product. It was a little bit finicky for me to work with at first. This is the shade To The Max, and I've just never been a fan of liquid glitter eyeshadows because I find they just look kind of patchy. They can look a little bit unblended, so I have never been a huge fan of glitter shadows, but I have to say that once you get the hang of this, there's definitely something to it. So again, this does not have much of a base pigment to it. It's a very, very soft kind of peach base pigment, super soft and pretty, but it kind of has like a peachy pink shift to it. This is definitely not like a texture glitter in my opinion. Like the Lustrous foil shadows to me have a little bit more intensity. These are slightly more subtle, but something that I found is really pretty about these is when you apply them on top of a shadow to kind of finish a look, you can take your look to like a completely new level. This gives you a very, very beautiful glossy look. Personally for me, because this doesn't have much of a base pigment to it, if you just put it all over the lids and call it a day, I feel like it doesn't look as cohesive. Like there will be some spots that you'll notice are missing certain pieces of glitter, if that makes sense. For me, this works as a finishing product, that product to add a beautiful glittery, glossy looking shine at the end of your eye look. There's no fallout with a product like this, again, because it's more of a liquid shadow that sets down. Once they set down, they definitely set down, but they still will give you a really, really pretty reflection. When I was using this on its own, I was like, I just am not getting the shine that I want. Some places look blended and other places don't look blended. When you layer this on top of products, that's where you get the full effect in my opinion. All right, next we have one more eye product to talk about, but it's actually a mascara. So you guys, I wasn't expecting much from this mascara. I don't know why. It had really, really good reviews though, so I decided to dive in and give it a shot. And I am so glad that I did. It's the Ulta Beauty Twisted Volume Mascara, and I think that this is one of the coolest products that Ulta has come out with. So when you take out the wand, you'll notice that you get a very straight kind of rubberized brush. But you'll notice that there's this little dial at the bottom of the wand, and it's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you move the dial up, the wand starts to twist, which is where it gets its name. And as you move the dial closer to 4, it becomes super twisted and you get more volume and more definition as you move the number up. So the number 1 is very clean volume. It's very lengthened and more natural. Honestly, it reminds me quite a bit of the Sky High mascara actually. A lot of length, beautiful definition. I actually put the setting on number 3 to do my lashes today, but I'll show you a side by side between 1 and 4, and you'll notice that 1 looks beautiful and fluttery and natural, but 4 just gives you that kind of va-va-voom look without a bunch of clumping. So what's beautiful about a product like this is that you can get multiple kinds of lash looks with one mascara. So, you know, mascara, you definitely need to buy new ones a little bit quicker than other makeup products because they are going directly onto the eyes. So I think this is a really unique product because you don't need to open multiple mascaras and potentially waste product. I really, really like that about this. And I also really enjoy that I like the way my lashes look at the setting 1 and at the setting 4. There's some versatile products like an eye cheek lip tint where I only like it on my cheeks or I only like it on my lips, so I don't really care as much about the versatility of it. But because I do like the way my lashes look within the different levels of volume, I think that this is a really, really cool product. I feel like I've seen another mascara similar to this, and I think that it was a mascara that kind of moved outwards. I can't think of the name. This isn't a completely new concept, but I really like the way that they executed it. I feel like this is definitely a mascara that I'm going to be repurchasing. But let's talk about a couple of products that I'm not a fan of. I feel like we just need to talk about them and get them out of the way. So the Ulta Beauty Stay Cheeky Liquid Blush was a product that I was so excited to try out. I saw this in stores and I said, I need to try that. It looks very similar to like the Flower Beauty blush bombs or maybe even the Glossier Cloud Paints. Like if this could be a dupe, I would really, really want to be able to share that. Well, this is a very, very confusing product. So it is a sheer liquid blush. It says right on it that it's sheer, so I don't have a problem with that necessarily. But the reason I really don't enjoy this is that there is literally just glitter in here. So not only are you getting a very sheer pigmentation, the more you try and build it up to get a little bit more pigmentation, the more there's just like straight glitter on your face. Because of the placement of blush, I feel like it's very noticeable because I have pores, you know, right in here. And I really like applying blush a little bit more inwards. I think it gives you a very fresh look. And yeah, every single pore, I noticed it way more. As the pigment fades, it just leaves behind like a bunch of glitter. All of the shades do have that shimmer within it, so that is disappointing. This isn't one that I would recommend. And I also really was not a fan of the Ulta Beauty Too Cheeky. This is for the lips and the cheeks, and I don't know if you can see that. Right at the top, this actually fell when I was doing a demo, and I feel like the way that it looks right there very perfectly describes the texture. It's very kind of Play-Doh-y and waxy. It's kind of the same story. It doesn't have much pigment, and as you try to build it up, because it has that more sheer kind of waxy Play-Doh-y formula, it doesn't want to build up on itself, and it ends up just kind of moving the other products around. I actually like to kind of warm it up on the back of my hand, and I think warming it up definitely helps the product go on a little bit easier. But then it kind of just disappears and leaves you with just a little bit of like a choppy look on your cheeks. I really like the packaging. I think the color's pretty, but the texture and the formula itself for me is a pass. Let's talk about another win though. The Ulta Beauty Moisturizing Foundation Stick is really, really pretty. It's what I have on my face today. I'm the shade Light Cool. When I actually swipe it out on my skin, it looks a little bit darker, but this is a little bit more of that sheer to light coverage product, so I can definitely get away with it. This texture is so unique because it's super, super creamy, but it's not thick. It's actually a little bit cooling on the skin. I don't know if I'm just imagining that, but it feels really nice when it glides on the skin. There are definitely some foundation stick formulas that I feel like you're kind of dragging it across the face, and then when you go to blend it in, it's just a little bit more difficult, but this one is ultra blendable. It's really like an easy kind of everyday light coverage product. I find that it does a good job kind of disguising my pores. It gives you a fresh finish as well. It's not super dewy. My nose has been a little bit dry lately, and I do think that if you have very dry skin, it might pick up texture in that area, but I can't really blame the foundation just because I've been blowing my nose a lot. Everywhere else it looks really skin-like, and I just love how blendable it is. There's really something to be said about a product that's easy like this. I feel like it's really beautiful for touch-ups because it can build on itself without looking really heavy or cakey. I actually prefer this formula to the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. Yeah, I feel like this is a really nice kind of on-the-go, like vacation makeup kind of product. So definitely a fan of this. I was not a fan of, though, the Ulta Beauty Full Coverage Concealer. I actually had tried the Youth Glowy Concealer as well, and just immediately returned it the next day because I didn't like the way it looked at all. And unfortunately, I don't think that this is a bad concealer, especially for spot concealing. It's more of a medium coverage. I wouldn't say that it's full coverage. I like the wand because it applies product very evenly and smoothly. You see how it has a lot of flexibility to it? I actually really like that, especially for delicate areas like under the eyes, but I just felt like it looked a little bit dry under my eyes, and as I continued to wear it, I also felt that it kind of collected a little bit oddly on my skin. So personally, this is one that I would pass on. Next, let's talk about the Ulta Beauty Juice Infused Lip Oil. So I have this on my lips today. It's kind of all worn off now, but this is their clear. I have this Sweet Rose. I tried this last year when I was kind of discovering affordable lip oils, and I was trying to find formulas that I really liked. This was one of my favorites because it just gives you such a high shine look. So if you're a fan of a product like the Clarins lip oil, for me this isn't even a dupe for that product. Like, it's a better version of that product. It gives you a really pretty kind of raindrop effect. That's kind of the way that I described it last time I talked about it, but it just kind of envelops the lips and makes them look very big and juicy. It's also a little bit thicker than the Clarins lip oil, so it actually just feels a little bit more substantial. I do find that lip oils can sometimes be a little bit too thin, and then you're kind of worried about it like getting onto the outer corners of your lips. That's kind of an uncomfortable feeling for me, like feeling like there's oil collecting over there. This will not do that because it is a little bit more substantial. I also have ones with pigment, which I don't know why I didn't order one with pigment because I've been meaning to try that formula. And there are a bunch of different scents within this one. I believe there's like a coconut. There are some more fruity ones. I got sweet rose. I don't know why I did that because I don't like rose flavor in my lip products. So I would recommend going with another one of the scents. Yeah, this I think was kind of going viral on TikTok for a second there. Next, let's talk about a product that I wouldn't say I'm disappointed in it. I'm still trying to make it work for me. It's the Ulta Beauty Baked Bronzer. So I really, really like the shade of this. It has a little bit of red to it, which I actually really like. A more red bronzer because I just find that it looks really flattering on me. I can kind of take it onto the cheeks as well and kind of get a blush bronzer effect. It's weird because I feel like the swatches of this look a little bit more yellow, but on my skin it translates more as that kind of red undertone. Sometimes this looks good and sometimes I feel like it looks a little bit choppy, which is really frustrating, again, because I really like the color. And I think the formula is nice too because there's quite a lot of pigment. Some baked formulas, I feel like you're kind of digging your brush in to get pigment payoff. With this one, you definitely get pigment right off the bat. I don't know, sometimes I like it and then sometimes I think it looks choppy. And there's also one shade, which I think is pretty disappointing. And lastly, we have the Ulta Beauty Radiant Shine lipstick. So this is a lipstick that got really, really good reviews on their site, and it sounds like this is one of their best-selling lip products. This has a very creamy, almost like a whipped lipstick texture. It glides on the lips very, very easily. I have the shade 325, and I think this is really, really good if you like more of a beigey nude shade. But personally, I feel like that kind of shade really washes me out. So I don't think that this shade is very flattering on me. But if you want a very comfortable lip product, this was definitely comfortable. And I actually really like the way that it faded as well. If you sip water, if you eat, it's not going to fade awkwardly. It fades very evenly because of that more like creamy whipped formula. I don't know if that would be the case if you got like a deep, rich red, but for a shade like this, I actually thought it faded really gracefully. And I think that is it, you guys. So I hope that this was really helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed the demos, if you enjoyed the in-depth reviews, definitely make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you like me, I would love for you to subscribe as well. And with all of that, I will see you in my next one.